Oh, here we go, you guys. Um, you've stumbled upon a place in the history of mankind where you will only get this classified, gilded information that you get here on the Clark the Shark Show. I'm not sure what gilded means, but Clark the Shark is definitely gilded. Um, I don't know, you guys. Please Google gilded and email me at clahagin at AOL.com or HagensClark at gmail.com if you can tell me what gilded means. I know heralded and hallowed is like when you're describing God or great humans or, maybe even people like Clark the Shark. I'm not sure, but I am sure that Wheatstraw Sweet, the Dillards, is one of my favorite albums, you guys. Done better than the Douchebags. I mean, the Birds, Sweethearts of the Douchebag album. It is, you guys. I know a lot of people argue which is better, which is more authentic, rock, country, or whatever. But, Roger Douchebag, McGuinn of the Birds, he loved the Dillards. And at this time in their history, they were trying to get more, rock and roll, more on the radio, contemporary, contempo, if you will. They were a real, folksy country. They were legit in that and in a weird way. Now they're going more like, okay, we got to make money, you guys, or something. I know I've been there. Come on, me, Clark the Shark with GE. I was rocking with Phil Keegan for 3 albums, and we were really fucking awesome. Like a Yardbirds, Cream, The Who live at Leeds, Led Zeppelin 1 psychedelic rock tribute that I loved. But then changing times started happening about 1989, 90. And I felt this thing where I was like, I got to go punk rock or alternative rock or, this is before Blake Douchebag, long before. This is, when Faith No More was all over MTV. I saw that. The one with Mike Patton, not the earlier one, where they're like, we'll want it all, but you can't have it. That. Clark the Shark looked at that, and I'm like, I want to be a rock star like him. I don't want to be a drummer anymore. I'm going to be a front man, and I'm going to act like a fucking douchebag asshole like Mike Patton or Anthony Kiedis or, something kind of like that. And it was a big mistake. We added this drummer guy to the band, a guy named Mike Valencia, who was a pretty good drummer. He was all right. Not real great like Clark the Shark or anything like that. But, I have regrets about the year 1990 in many different directions, many various ways. Should I have kept playing with Keegan? I look back at it and I'm like, yes and no. Should I have stayed a lead vocalist? Dude, I can't even talk about this now because the punk rock thing was rising out of Flipside magazine, you guys. And in about September, October 1990, I grabbed a guitar and the new version of the three-piece Greenhouse Effect was born with me up front, a long blonde-haired guy singing and playing guitar. And then the red-haired guy, Rick Carmody, with the big bun of red hair. Of course, he's always in the band on bass. But then we had this thing where many drummers, we couldn't find the right one. And sadly, we couldn't find the right one in time. As I was defeated, I was beaten to the punch by Blake Douchebag up in Seattle. And as we all know, they found a pretty good drummer and got on Geffen Records on a major label. And the rest was proverbial history, you guys. Clark the Shark is just some guy, some annoying fucking guy now on the internet, where most people, I would say most to all people are like, what the fuck is this? Who is this guy, in this fucking band? Why do I keep seeing them? I'm just trying to reach the 3%, there's 97% that probably fucking hate my and our guts, but there's 3% that are like, dude, this is cool or something, who knows? But I'm not here to talk about GE, the Greenhouse Effect, or me, Clark the Shark. I'm here to talk about the Dillards. And in many ways, this group, they got taken out and crushed by Roger Douchebag and the Byrds and Sweethearts of the Douchebag album, 1968. But this album was the real deal. Wheatstraw Suite by the Dillards. Sadly, the Grateful Dead and all these other bands and lots of country artists were, when you would talk to them in interviews or quote them, they'd be like, oh, Sweethearts of the Douchebags is so fucking amazing. Roger McGuinn. And we like David Crosby too, and Graham Nash, and Stephen Stills. And people are like, oh, you like Neil Young? And they're like, dude, of course. Well, hey, have you ever heard of the Dillards? And they're like, who? Yeah, I think I saw them on the Clark the Shark show or something. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe. But, they're cool. But I like Sweethearts of the Douchebags more right here on the Clark the Shark show. Yeah, you guys, sort of like GE, the Greenhouse Effect, the Dillards end up in history like that, where it takes some guy like me, Clark the Shark, to promote them today and make sure that all of you out there, or some of you anyway, know about the Dillards. I don't want you to know about Mumford and Sons and that crap. You guys are today's modern indie country or modern indie lounge, or some of it might even be kind of good or something, or they can play their instruments really fast, with a metronome, or I don't know. I wish the 60s could have gone on forever, you guys, but it didn't, sadly. 1-800-449-8255 from the fabulous golden EIB Sharkerphone. It's not a microphone. It's a solid gold Sharkerphone, because it was given to me by the Dillards, you guys. And they're like, Clark the Shark, fucking tell them about us, And a lot of people are like, well, dude, they do a Harry Nilsson cover of She Sang Hymns Out of Tune. They do, you guys. I mean, and they, of all the groups and solo artists who ever did She Sang Hymns Out of Tune, I think everybody in the know, they know that the Dillards do that best. Even better than Harry Nilsson. Now, Harry Nilsson didn't write it. I think the guy was a preacher, maybe Jesse Lee Kincaid, who wrote it. I'm not sure. Who also does a version of it. that's really fucking good. The Harry Nilsson version of it, of course, off Pandemonium Shadow Show, is really fucking good, you guys. I'm sure John Lennon, Ron Nasty himself, got a kick out of that. Maybe, who knows? But the Dillards version, you guys, is fucking awesome, spectacular, amazing with the country fried harmonies and all that. It's just impeccable right here on the Clark the Shark Show. On WABC Radio, baby, New York, AM, FM, number one in the whole solar system, Mars, Venus, planets, Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Neptune, but especially, you guys, on Uranus, the Clark the Shark Show. It's absolutely fab gear. Like the Ruttles, 1964. I'm not talking about them, though. I'm talking about an album that you guys have to buy at Amazon, Spotify, iTunes. If you want real country rock, go ahead and buy Sweethearts of the Douchebags. The Dillards were getting kind of desperate if they were touring with the Birds. I mean, the Douchebags and Roger McGuinn. It was all a happy family, all these people. I'm always kind of vague on it. I'm not sure if they were making fun of country. I think they were, but I know these guys and the Birds love, good country, Johnny Cash, Hank Williams, Patsy Cline, and other good shit on the underground type of country. Not really so much Elvis and that shit. But, hey, you guys, Dewey Martin from the Buffalo Springfield, I think played with this project, you guys. That's fucking hella cool. Now, I love the Buffalo Springfield too, by the way. Even though Steven Douchebag and Neil Douchebag are in the project, but whatever. Dewey Martin, Richie Furry, come on. Those guys are cool. And I'll Fly Away, Albert E. Brumley. The version by the Dillards is fucking amazing, awesome. Nobody Knows. Dude, Rodney Dillard co-wrote. Hey Boys, the Dillards original, killer. This whole album is amazing. Every song is better than Sweethearts of the Douchebags, you guys. It is. I love Roger McGuinn. You guys, don't get me wrong. I even love David Douchebag and Neil Douchebag and everyone in CSNY Young. Affectionately, I fucking call them the Douchebags too, like the Birds. I love great music. I don't love the people, something about the late 60s liberals, but they had to be that way. I mean, that stupid Vietnam War that was a meat grinder that was taking our young people over there and getting them killed, all because of Kennedy and Johnson. And then, Nixon was elected, and he didn't exactly make a great effort to get out of it, maybe if he would have, or just drop the bomb on them, on Hanoi, like he wanted to, right here on the Clark the Shark Show. Well, maybe things would have been all better, but sending our guys, 58,000 guys over there to die in that war, I don't know if that was the greatest idea right here on the Clark the Shark Show, but it sure did contribute to and or create great music over here in the United States, like The Biggest Whatever, co-written by Rodney Dillard. Listen to the sound. Herb Peterson, Little Pete, Herb Peterson, you gotta love him. Reason to Believe. You know, that's been done a lot. Tim Harden. Single Sadie. Well, I like Sexy Sadie by the Beatles, Ron Nasty, but I fucking love this too, you guys. I've just seen a face, Nasty McQuickly. I'm not real wild about the Dillards version of I've just seen a face, you guys, but you know, I'll fucking like tolerate it or something, and even in some moments when I'm taking Sominex or like sleepies and going to bed, it's cool, dude. In that moment, you know. I fucking love it. Lemon Chimes, Don't You Cry. um it's all good. The Dillards originals are really good, you guys, all over this. Country bluesy, out in the, dude, you just get this more real than real, out in the sticks, out in the desert, out in the something, you know, bending the strings. Amazing. Now comes the version of She Sang Hymns Out of Tune, Jesse Lee Kincaid, but famously done by Harry Nilsson and the Dillards. There is a battle between who has the better version. Is it Nilsson or the Dillards, you guys? One is from 1967 off the incredible Pandemonium Shadow Show. And then, of course, the fucking really killer version off this album right here. I'll go with the Dillards, you guys, hands down. And I'll bet Ron Nasty would agree with me. He'd go with the Dillards too. Now, there are so many versions of the song, and many of them are really great over the years. Don Douchebag from the Eagles, he does a version of She Sang Hymns Out of Tune. Oh, dude. Of course, all music gave it a 4.5. The Dillards. Fucking, this is so amazing. Awesome. The whole album is incredible. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give this album a 24. This is so fucking good, you guys. Everybody's important. All four guys. All four of these country, rock, bluesy, desert, out in the woods, out in the sticks, geniuses, rock gods, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I don't care about the genre or the style. The Dillards, baby. If they're not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they need to take Green Day out, or take Dave Douche from the Douche Fighters. Take him the fuck out and put in the Dillards. Seriously, you guys, these are important. All four of them, at least on this album. I know they had a lot of lineup changes, you guys. I love Mandolin, Dean Webb. Mandolin is so important. I'm sure that Zeppelin on Zepp 3 and 4 were using mandolin because of the Dillards, you guys. I love acoustic bass. Oh, dude, Mitch Jane. Of course, the two geniuses, you know, lead vocalists in the band, you guys, in the project. Would this be their last greatest thing? No way. It went on, you guys. Now, should the Byrds have continued like this, we all know they would go back to rock. And once again, David Douchebag would rejoin. Everybody would get together in the future someday, the Byrds. And, you know, it was cool. that album. I like it. It gets bad reviews. I don't know why. But Roger McGuinn, he's a Dillards fanatic. And well, he should be, because these guys, he would tell you, these guys are the authentic, legit, proper rock country, rock bluesy, not so much blues, more country. Just really kick ass, not garage, professional, polished harmonies, atmospheric, dude, acoustic bass, mandolin. I just want you to buy this at Amazon, iTunes, Spotify. If you are only 20 years old, right here in 2024, January 5th, I think, you guys, or January 6th, we're into a new year now. And you are a 20-year-old curious about great fucking music. Forget country or blues or all that shit. Go buy Sweethearts of the Douchebags and this, you guys, and compare them. They're both really good. But, you're only 20 years old and you're an indie kid listening to Mumford and Sons. Dude, I'm not going to completely hate them, or Squirrel Nut Zippers, or, the other lounge country shit from modern times. Some of it has merit, you guys. I want to hate it. I want to hate everything from 1989 moving forward to today, 2024, mainly because Taylor Swift was born in 1989. I fucking hate that year now, and I curse that year. And I fucking hate her, you guys, right here on the Clark the Shark Show. But I love the Dillards, and I want you to buy this shit, because you're only 20 years old and you were born 3 years after 2001, when Mohammed Atta and those terrorists flew those jets into the World Trade Center, and they killed a couple of great guys from the LA Kings NHL franchise. Ace Bailey was one of them. I forget the other guy's name, Mark something, Bavis or Bevis, or I don't know. But Bevan. Dude, whenever I think Bevan, I think about that Kentucky election that was stolen. Don't fucking get me angry about that institutionalized theft fucking shit. I don't want to go down that rabbit hole right now. I want to talk about great music, the Dillards. If you were born after 9/11 and you're just a kid, dude, go ahead and listen to Mumford and the Douchebags. I don't fucking care. But it's more important that you get into Sweethearts of the Rodeo and the Dillards. Get into Roger McDouchebag. I don't fucking care if you do or don't. Get into the Byrds. Why not? Get into the Grateful Dead. Go ahead, dude. Working Man's Dead is all right. I want to fucking hate that group too. But it's got some good people in it. Lesh is all right. Mickey Hart. Sure, you guys. Get into country, but get into Patsy Cline. Get into way back in the 50s, Hank Williams and all that shit. I like Johnny Cash, but don't get into him because all the cool indie people or all the acceptable douchebags like Dave Grohl like that shit. You got to get into fucking shit because you're independent and you like it on your own. Don't even get into shit because I, Clark the Shark, tell you to. Fuck me too, you guys. Ignore me. Come here to learn about the Dillards and Sweethearts of the Douchebags and Roger McGuinn and David Crosby and all that shit. There's underground shit, you guys, that's better. These are the guys that touch on it. They touch on the lip service. Get into Graham Nash. Go ahead, but get into the Hollies more. Really, you guys, get into the Buffalo Springfield more than CSNY or the Dead or that shit. Get into Buck Owens if you have to or something. But if you're gonna get into country, get into good country, and you start in the 50s and you listen to all that shit and the 60s, especially the early 60s country. Get into that shit. It's okay to like Sweethearts of the Douchebags and Roger McGuinn. But it is imperative and important that you get into Wheatstraw Suite, the Dillards, because this album's so incredible. One of the greatest musical albums ever recorded in the history of mankind, of all styles of music, not just blues or country or rock or any of that shit or contemporary adult. This is one of the greatest albums of all time. All times, plural, you guys. Neil Young is great after the gold rush and all that shit. Everybody knows this is nowhere. But it's more important to get into the Dillards, you guys. It is. It just flat out is. Oh, there's a group from members of X called the Knitters. Get into them. I want you to hear Poor Little Critter in the Road. Where was Shark trying to go? That's me, you guys. I'm like fucking the roadkill in history, like the poor little critter in the road. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show, you guys. I want you to buy the Dillards. I want 1 million of you tonight. Right here on WABC Radio New York. You heard it from Clark the Shark. I want you all to go to Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and buy the Dillards. Do it for Rodney Dillard, you guys. Dude. Do it, dude. Do it. Do it. Dude, by the way, the guy Doug Dillard left, sadly, that was a weird thing back in the 60s. New direction was coming, in 1968, 69, after psychedelia, and there was a lot of people leaving bands. There was a new thing happening in all genres. Some bands, like The Who, they survived and went on to thrive. And some people, like Jeff Beck, really kicked around and struggled or something, or, they were pretty good in their own beliefs in themselves, but couldn't keep up with those arena rockers. The ones, Jimmy Page and Pete Townsend and all that. But there's something about the purity and the integrity and dignity and the oneness, the singularity of the Dillards. I'm serious, you guys. These guys in their special condition, they remind me of me, Clark the Shark. Don't ask me why, but do, you guys. They are roadkill in history, but it's like they are fucking awesome, great roadkill. And I want you to buy them, you guys, right here on the Clark the Shark Show and get into them. They're important. Get into the earlier Dillards before this album so that you can learn where they came from, what their sound was. Before you listen to country, Taylor Swift or Garth Brooks or modern shitty, crappy country from today, don't even listen to that shit. When it comes to country, stop listening to it at about 1975. 1976 country going forward, you guys don't listen to any of it unless it's really underground indie country or something, because most of it fucking sucks. I'm serious, you guys. I'm just saying. Right here on the Clark the Shark Show and be here daily. I love all of you guys. It may sound like a fucking asshole and a douchebag, and it's because I am. But I want you guys to get into great music and great things. I don't want you paying $3,000 to go see Taylor Swift or Beyonce or the fuck fighters or any of that fucking shit. Fuck that. I want you to get into the Dillards. I really do, you guys. It means a lot to me and it's important. And I'm out of here, people. Peace.